One lawsuit claims TJ Maxx knew a former employee recorded customers trying on clothes. Local attorneys agree. A group of attorneys believe TJ Maxx should be held responsible in the case of a secret camera above the women's dressing room. WIFR's Nathaniel Langley digs into the claims awaiting its day in court.
Daniel, just last week in his criminal case, Jeffrey Wallen pled not guilty to secretly recording customers. But in civil court, attorneys in Rockford and Chicago move forward with claims the company failed shoppers.
When somebody walks in the dressing room, they have the expectation of privacy almost like their own home.
Rockford attorneys Tom Fabiano and Kevin Frost feel TJ Maxx broke customers' trust.
A number of folks that have reached out to us are very upset, embarrassed, ashamed.
The pair represent customers who say they were secretly recorded in the women's dressing room at the Machesney Park location.
And that violation is degrading, that's humiliating, and it's outrageous.
On March 23rd, the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office arrested Jeffrey Wallen for keeping a small camera inside a ceiling tile.
I can tell you this, that TJ Maxx knew in the beginning.
Fabiano claims someone warned an employee about 5 months before a customer found the device February 28th.
And they did nothing. So not only were they negligent, but that's reckless.
A lawsuit filed April 10th also alleges Wallen used the store's surveillance cameras at least 7 times to watch a shopper undress. Attorneys with Chicago-based Whiteside and Goldberg argue TJ Maxx breached its duties by not supervising Wallen.
One of the motivations, is not only for a redress for the wrong, but to make sure this doesn't happen again.
TJ Maxx has yet to respond to a request for comment. It previously told WIFR it considers the safety and security of customers and workers very important.
We plan on filing a lawsuit against TJ Maxx.
The Rockford attorneys couldn't say how many people affected they represent, but they expect the number to grow.
We feel it's the right thing to do.
Frost and Fabiano say anyone who used the dressing rooms between May 1st, 2025 and February 28th of this year can reach out to their offices for more on their legal rights.
WIFR reached out to Whiteside and Goldberg for comment but have yet to hear back. The law firm's case returns to court August 12th.